What's the problem? Why does President Trump have such a problem with you particularly?
You got me. I wish I knew. I wish you told me before the election his involvement in it. But that's the way these things go. But here's what's interesting, and it goes straight to what Senator Corker was talking about with this sort of cult of personality, as he put it. If you look at my voting record, I've been overwhelmingly supportive of the president's agenda. And Congressional Quarterly has rated me as 89% supportive. And on a handful of issues, I've disagreed. I mean, for instance, the omnibus bill would be a surprise to no one that a fiscal conservative, with the track record that I've had on that front, would have voted no. In my view, that wasn't a vote against the president, but it was a vote for financial sanity. But I think what's interesting is that I have articulated those differences, over the last year and a half, as well as the points of agreement. Baked into the cake in the American political system is the notion that we can agree to disagree. That's what our system's built around. And the founding fathers were so deliberate in essence, setting up conflict with the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. So I think some of it is about a allegiance to a personality rather than allegiance to a set of core values on conservatism or the Constitution itself.
Well, exactly, and that's what I was trying to get at. How much of this is about substance, as we would call it, policy differences, and how much of it is personality? And insofar as it is about personality, what are the dangers of that for our political system overall if that is the way we're evolving?
Extreme. Because, again, I went to business school at the University of Virginia for grad school, got my MBA up there. They believe in the case method, which was you throw ideas out in the middle, you debate them long enough, and hopefully you end up with a better mousetrap as a consequence of that debate back and forth. The idea of chilling dissent, chilling debate, because you need to agree with me because I am a force of personality, and Trump is certainly that, is the opposite of what the Founding Fathers intended and will lead to, I think, inferior legislative results.
In the past, you've called this political environment tribal. Will this hold back the GOP in general elections when they need to appeal to a wider audience?
I don't know. I'm not a pundit in terms of what comes next politically. All I know is what I know, which is I've run a long number of races over the years, and I've never run one like this where the operative question was, are you for or against Trump? And I'd say I'm neither for nor against Trump. I'm for ideas that, where we agree, and I disagree on the ideas we disagree in representing my district or in representing ideas I've long stood for. That is, I think, a bellwether and an important one on where we are in this sort of larger national debate. We don't have a parliamentary system. We're not to kowtow to the executive branch, but there's been too much of that of late here in the legislative branch, and I think we should all be watchful.
Right. And there's also been national debate on immigration, of course. President Trump signing an executive order to reverse that policy on separating illegal families crossing the border. Will that take, or does the legislative branch need to do something about it, and how soon?
Yeah, we're having a huge debate on that front here in the halls of Congress. And that debate, I don't know whether it's going to get resolved with a legislative fix on the House side this week. My suspicion is it's going to spill over. I don't think we're yet at the point of conclusion.
So, Congressman, we see on various issues, like immigration, you just talked about, trade is another one where some members of Congress are saying, maybe we let the president have a little too much authority. Which way is it tilting right now, this teeter-totter that we see? Because on the one hand, we see this cult of personality and apparently GOP lawmakers afraid to criticize the president because of the consequences you've borne. On the other hand, some people are starting to say, maybe we should take back some of the authority.
So on the trade issue, I want to come back to that. Yes, I believe we should. But the bigger issue as it relates to the immigration issue we just talked about is there's a bigger principle at play here, which is the beauty of the American political system has always been there's been some measure of stability that came from it. And for investors out there to make any long-term decision, they have to have some belief in the stability of the system and what comes next. What happened just now with immigration is a perfect example. The administration enacted a policy with regard to zero tolerance. Now they're peeling that back. But the back and forth is what will have a chilling effect on the market and investors' choices out there, because you can't have, I don't know what it's going to be on the day that I wake up. It might be different by the afternoon. That's not the business environment that has always been I think, represented in America. There's been a degree of stability versus banana republics in perhaps South or Central America or other places around the world. And that's a distinguishing point of competitive advantage that's being eroded right now. As it relates to trade, yes, I think we need to peel back some of the license that we've given the executive branch.
So, Congressman, if that stability is essential, whether it's in business or in planning your life, where's it going to come from? Because whatever one thinks of President Trump, good or bad, he is unpredictable. I think everyone would agree to that. So it doesn't look like we're going to get a lot of stability from there. Is it really up to the Congress, and is that realistic? We have a perception that Congress has been largely dysfunctional, sometimes even absent without leave.
No, I mean, you raise a great point, which is all of life requires some measure of leadership. And I'm saying right now we got to step to the plate as members of Congress in providing a greater measure of stability, both for the market, for people in making individual decisions within their lives, and for the body politic. Because as we see things unfolding right now, we're not getting that from the executive branch, though it's something we need.